The Border Czar Tom Homan joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at it. But this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
All right, folks, welcome back to Red Wave Network. If you love this country, if you believe borders matter, laws matter, and American citizens should always come first, then you're in the right place. United States. What you just watched is exactly the kind of conversation the mainstream media does everything it can to bury, because the truth is uncomfortable for them.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down and we're going to deep dive all of this. And we're going to hold people accountable. So yes, there are going to be multiple deportations coming. Absolutely.
There's so many claims of a racist element to this story, and when we're talking about a certain subsection of refugees into this country, but it bears reminding to people that it wasn't very long ago at all that Americans expected that people that came to our country would contribute to the cause, would assimilate to our culture and to who we are. And we're just not seeing that at all in this community. We're seeing a community that's largely hostile to our culture, wants to bring in an Islamic culture into our nation, while doing so and staying vastly on the dole, on some kind of assistance, taking more than they contribute. Knowing all of that, here's Ilhan Omar on our immigration system under this president and the job that you're doing.
This is certainly not what the founding fathers of the American dream were thinking about when they said, that when they set out to write the Constitution.
What's your reaction to that?
Unlike the Biden administration, we're following the Constitution. We're enforcing the law. We're not ignoring the law. And you're right. The proper, assimilation is important, and it's going to be required. Not only that, when they come here on their legal program, they're required to be self-sufficient. They have to prove they're self-sufficient. So, so a lot of them, first thing they're doing to get here is get on the public dole. President Trump put his foot down, and like I said earlier, we're doing a deep dive on thousands and thousands of files, and we'll hold people accountable. And I'm so tired of them pulling the race card all the time,
right.
Because we're doing this racist. ICE has arrested people from 180 different countries. Europe, Asia, South America.
Every color.
They're not just arresting brown and black people. They're arresting people from all over the world. The immigration enforcement is colorblind. There's one thing that matters to us. Did they follow the immigration law? Are they here legally? Did they break the law once they became here, either illegally or legal? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we're following the law. That's all that matters to us. Title 8 United States Code, Title 18 United States Code, the Immigration Nationality Act, what that says, we're enforcing without apology. That's the way it's supposed to be. As a member of Congress, she should respect that we're enforcing the laws that Congress enacted.
Yeah, and does anybody buy that the founding fathers were trying to set up a welfare state for African refugees in this country? I don't think anybody's believing that argument at all. I want to play our next mayor here in New York, Mamdani, giving out advice on how to evade you.
But we can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights. If you encounter ICE, these are the things that every New Yorker should know. First, ICE cannot enter into private spaces like your home, school, or a private area of your workplace without a judicial warrant signed by a judge. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent. If you're being detained, you may always ask, "Am I free to go?" repeatedly until they answer you. You are legally allowed to film ICE as long as you do not interfere with an arrest.
Your thoughts on that?
We know the law better than anybody, and we're going to keep enforcing the law in New York. We're there today. We're there right now doing operations. We'll be there tomorrow. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're arresting public safety threats every day. And because we're forced in the community, because places like New York City is a sanctuary jurisdiction, when they force us in the community to find the public safety threat and national security threats, many times they're with others. Others that may not be a public safety threat, but they're in the country legally. Well, guess what? They're coming too. So educate these people all you want. We know the law, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're breaking records every day. Already have historic deportation numbers. Already have an historic secure border. So we're going to keep pushing the Trump agenda, keeping Trump's promise to American people, make this country safe again, one illegal alien criminal at a time.
Last question, and it's something that we don't actually talk about too much because right now it feels unneeded because they're doing such a great job at the border. How's the wall going? I mean, is the wall going to be finished in this president's term when he leaves? And maybe we get a Democrat in 2028 potentially. Are we going to have a border that can't be? We're not going to have to worry about.
Contractors on the wall right now. That is a plan. Matter of fact, I'm leaving this week to go look at a couple of sections of the wall that are currently under construction. So yeah, thanks to Congress, that big beautiful bill. We got the wall funding. Contracts are signed, and additional ones are being signed. We're going to finish that wall.
Going to finish that wall. I'd love to hear that. Borders are Tom Homan. Good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Let's start with something simple but powerful that was said right at the beginning. It was never their money to begin with. It's our money. That line right there sums up the frustration millions of Americans feel. Taxpayers work hard, play by the rules, struggle to pay bills, and then watch billions of dollars handed out to people who enter this country illegally or under fraudulent circumstances. That's not compassion. That's insanity. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Ilhan Omar. This story didn't come out last week. It didn't come out last year. It's been floating around for years. And what's shocking isn't that the allegations exist. It's that no serious investigation was allowed to move forward. According to discussion, a respected fraud investigator reviewed the file and believed immigration fraud occurred. The issue? Statutes of limitation. And a Justice Department that didn't want to touch it. Let me be very clear. No one is above the law. Not a congresswoman. Not a media darling. Not a protected political class. If an average American committed immigration fraud, they'd be deported without hesitation. Equality under the law means everyone plays by the same rules. Then comes a jaw-dropping claim. Nearly 50% of visas in certain refugee communities may be fraudulent. If even a fraction of that is true, that is not a small paperwork issue. That is a national security failure. This didn't happen overnight. This happened because of weak leadership, open border ideology, and an obsession with virtue signaling instead of vetting. A country that doesn't know who's coming in isn't a country. It's an invitation. Now here's where the left completely loses it. Enforcement. Suddenly, enforcing immigration law is called racist. Suddenly, deporting criminals is inhumane. But facts don't care about feelings. ICE arrests people from over 180 countries. Europe, Asia, Africa, South America. That's not racial targeting. That's law enforcement. The only question that matters is this. Are you here legally? Did you follow the law? Did you commit a crime? If the answer is no, then consequences follow. That's how a functioning nation works. Here's something that used to be common sense in America. If you come here, you assimilate. You respect the culture. You respect the laws. You work. You contribute. America was never meant to be a permanent welfare destination for people who openly reject American values while demanding American benefits. Assimilation isn't hatred. It's unity. And once again, when the facts get uncomfortable, the left pulls out the race card. But enforcing the law is not racist. Expecting self-sufficiency is not racist. Protecting American citizens is not racist. Calling everything racist is a tactic to silence debate. And Americans are done being bullied into silence. Then we hear New York politicians giving advice on how to evade ICE. Let that sink in. Elected officials actively helping people avoid federal law enforcement. That's not leadership. That's sabotage. And yet, ICE keeps showing up every day, arresting public safety threats, doing the job local politicians refuse to do. Sanctuary cities don't protect communities. They protect criminals. Despite the noise, enforcement is working. Historic deportation numbers, a more secure border, criminal aliens being removed. That's what happens when you put America first instead of globalist talking points. And yes, the wall. Contract signed. Funding secured. Construction underway. Not slogans. Not speeches. Results. Walls work. Every serious country knows it. Only America was shamed into pretending borders don't matter. Here's the bottom line, folks. A nation without borders is not a nation. A country that refuses to enforce its laws will not survive. And a government that puts illegal aliens ahead of its own citizens has lost its moral authority. This isn't about race. This isn't about hate. This is about law, order, sovereignty, and the future of the United States of America. President Trump promised to make America safe again, and one illegal criminal at a time. That promise is being kept. If you love this country, if you believe in America first, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video. Because the truth needs to be louder than the lies. United States, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.